Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Certificate Management Services product demo. My name is Lauren Smith. I work for Entrust Data Card, and I'll be serving as today's event moderator. Entrust Data Card offers a variety of trusted identity and secure transaction solutions, and our Certificate Services division simplifies certificate lifecycle management and provides website security to organizations across the world. We're excited to show you our Certificate Management Services platform today. We'll save about 5 minutes at the end of the call for question and answer, but please feel free to submit your questions throughout the demo by entering them in the box available on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. I'll now pass it over to our presenter, Lucas Gritsiotis, to get started. Thank you for joining us, Lucas.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for the introduction, Lauren. My name is Lucas Gritsiotis. I'm a senior account executive with Entrust. I work on the MPKI division for managing and provisioning of SSL certificates within Entrust. And today we're going to do a high-level walkthrough of our ECS Entrust Certificate Services portal and do a high-level overview of the management and deployment and provisioning of our SSL certificates. So when our customers onboard with Entrust, they go through an enrollment process and they'll receive login credentials. Once they've gone through the verification process and received their credentials, they'll be able to log in and receive a home screen dashboard that's going to look similar to this. These 6 widgets that are populated are showing some metadata based off of the certificate deployments I've done within my portal. So as customers and administrators start to deploy certificates, this data will start to build up. On the left-hand side, we have our action items. This is where Entrust pushes out data to our customers. So things, notifications of, certificates that have been imported into our portal from another vendor, any certificates that have been discovered through our discovery solution. So again, a network solution that's done through Nmap protocol, allowing our customers to scan their network environment via port 443 and bring that data in. We'll also push out any sort of industry vulnerabilities that have been mainstream throughout the industry, things like Heartbleed, Poodle, Logjam. We'll notify our customers of those types of vulnerabilities that they can review and take steps to remediate those within their certificate portfolio as well. On the right in the center, we have the SSL server ratings. So Entrust, we partner with Qualys, and it allows our customer to utilize a server rating after they've done a certificate deployment. This is actually an automated feature that can be available for our Platinum customers. Essentially, we're measuring against the cipher suites and protocols of your installation, and you'll get a grade back, and Qualys will be able to show you where you're vulnerable, again, to, industry vulnerabilities based off of the scoring of your certificate installation on the server. On the far right-hand side, we have our expiring certificates. So we break them down. Again, you can see within 30 days, stretching out to all the way over more than a year. This is real-time data, and if I actually hover my mouse over it, an administrator has the ability to click down and get a live time report on specific certificates. So again, I've selected the 1 to 30 day option here. I can get a full listing of those certificates that are coming up for expiration, and I actually can highlight a certificate specific, and I can action that request directly from here. So you can see we do have the option to suspend. I can do an early renewal. If I wanted to pick up the certificate, if it was a recent deployment, or resend the pickup email to a requester, and also have the ability to revoke that certificate. So again, this is going to be real-time data that's populated based off of your expiry notifications. Just underneath, we have the widget of inventory usage. So again, fairly straightforward. It'll give you an overview of how many certificates are in your total inventory bucket versus how many are in use. So you can always have a scalable look at, managing your inventory requirements. And then underneath, we have our Entrust alerts. So again, these are some, basic alerts that we put up, just trusted certificates based off of other vendors. If you have any weak keys or weak hash algorithms out there, you can look at these alerts and view the policies. Lastly, on the left-hand side, we have our signature hash values. Again, pretty straightforward with the industry requirements today. The vast majority of them are SHA-2. I do have a very small portion of SHA-1 signature hash values out there on those private certificates again. So overall, this is just, a very high-level look at the portal. We haven't actually gone in and started to do the creation process yet, but, for those of you who just want to look and review the data, the dashboard is going to populate that information. today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a deployment, provisioning and deployment of certificates. I'm going to show two options, one of them being IT enrollment, where the administrators with Entrust have the option to go in and create the certificate themselves, and then either push that out to the end user or do the installation themselves. And then I'll show a secondary option, which is a user-based enrollment, where for organizations who want to offload that work to their requesters within the organization, and then just essentially review those requests and approve them for certificates, that'll be a supplementary option as well. So if I'm an administrator and I've gone ahead and logged in with my credentials, up here in the top left I have a creation wizard. So I have the option for SSL TLS, which we're going to be doing today. We do have a multitude of PKI options for publicly trusted certs. We do have device certificates for authentication. We provide code signing, secure email enterprise, again for authentication and email encryption. Entrust is a member of AATL for document signings. We do provide publicly trusted digital signatures for PDFs as well as Word documents. They can be available at the individual as well as the group and enterprise level. And then we also offer the ability to import your certificates from another vendor. So again, a single pane of glass where you can host all your certificates as you make that migration process. And then again, bringing in your Discovery agent scan results, where you do a network scan via Nmap protocol, and then you pull that data into this portal so you can manage it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an SSL certificate. And it's going to open up the creation wizard for me here momentarily. And you can see I have the option on the left-hand side of the multitude of the Entrust certs in our portfolio. So Standard Advantage, we do EV multi-domain, UC multi-domain certificates that can host up to 250 SAN licenses on a single certificate. And then we also have the option for our wildcard and private SSL certs for non-fully qualified domains on the private certificate. So administrators have the ability to view cert details. So again, we have a breakdown of the certificate and what are going to be the common names and SANs that are included on it. In this case, we'll go ahead and create an Advantage certificate here where I get my common name, a WW, as well as the additional SAN name. And I can see I have 74 remaining in my inventory. So we're going to go ahead and start that process. So once an administrator is entered into the certificate creation wizard, we can then break down the parameters of the certificate. So what you can see here is a certificate expiry. And one of the great features about Entrust and our licensing policy with our subscription service is that customers have the ability to purchase an account term. So they have a total cost of ownership over the certificates that they purchase. And when they go in to create their certificates, they can customize the expiry dates. So if you notice here, by default, I have an expiry pushed out to 1 year. I can actually go into this calendar as an admin and I can adjust that expiry date. So you have the requirement to do anywhere between 2 months and 27 months, which is roughly 825 days, which is the new CAB form maximum requirement. So a great flexible feature here for those who don't want to have certificate outages, happening on a weekend or a holiday or maybe a Friday. I can go ahead here and, I'm going to customize my expiry date for October of next year. I'll then select the organization. So I'm going to use Entrust Incorporated. Again, we pre-validate the organization before enrollment. We can also break down by organization units. So I'll do our division of ECS. I have my signing algorithm here of SHA-2. And then we have our EKU. So again, the option of server authentication, client authentication, and then as well as server and client authentication for this certificate. And then lastly, at the bottom here, we have Entrust Turbo. So Entrust Turbo is a semi-automated installation feature for those of our clients who are using Microsoft IIS servers. So that's always an option you can check off for using IIS. So at this point, everything looks good in terms of the parameters I've set for my certificate. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a CSR, and I'm going to paste it into the wizard. And when I go ahead and paste it in, you should notice that the ribbon at the top is now going to parse green. So it's parsing green, letting us know that the data checks out against what we've put in for our parameters. So everything looks good here from our certificate request standpoint. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And then we get to the domain section. So again, the domains that have been included, I'm using a root domain of testcertificates.com as my CN. I also have the ability to include the www with all of our certificates. So So I'm going to go ahead and include that. And then for those customers who are deploying multi-SAN certs or maybe wildcards, you have the ability to actually bulk upload SANs up at the top here. So if I was doing a multi-SAN certificate, you know, as long as they're separated by commas, I can do a bulk upload feature and paste those in, and it'd be listed in the certificate. So everything looks good from a domain standpoint. We're going to move on to the next step. And now we have the SiteLock feature. So Entrust partners with SiteLock to provide our customers with malware scanning ability. We do provide a complimentary malware scan when you're going through the certificate creation process. You can select a specific domain. So again, if you have a high e-commerce website or some website that has a lot of traffic, you can select that. SiteLock will then perform a malware scan on that website after installation. It goes roughly 250 pages deep. If it does pick up any sort of malware detection, it will email the administrator and let them know, and with steps to remediate that malware detection. So I'm going to go on to my last step here, and this is the additional information fields. So in terms of tracking info, when you're going through the creation process, you're allowed to customize up to 15 fields here. So I've only populated 3 just for demo purposes. But if I want to label my certificate, or if I have a project, you know, as I've listed here, Project X, you know, I want to put a server name in, or if I want to list additional emails, so maybe a distribution list or, you know, a higher authority within the organization to notify them I'm creating this certificate, I can do that. You know, you can also add in other fields such as a cost center, maybe for billbacks within a business unit within the organization. So again, 15 fields here, something that we can help customize for our customer needs. So everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and submit the request. It lets me know that I'm about to go and create a certificate. I'm going to select yes, and it's going to take momentarily here, about 5 to 10 seconds. It's going to give me instant issuance of that certificate. So my Advantage cert has been generated. Now as the admin, I'm going to go pick up that newly generated certificate. It's opening a new window, and this is going to bring me to the installation section. So at this point, the admin is going to get a drop-down selection of server types. So we have a vast list of servers here. You know, for the sake of the demo, maybe we'll keep consistent with the Microsoft IAS. I'm going to select IAS 8 and go next. And then it brings me to certificate installation. So our customers have the ability on the left-hand side to download the certificates in a bundle, or they can do it individually through the certificate path here on the left. And then we also have the option for, you know, installation instructions. We provide YouTube videos, and again, screenshots that are catered to the specific server type. So it's very user-friendly, you know, and if there's additional support that's required, that's not a problem. All of our customers are entitled to our support services. We can always have somebody get online with you and help walk you through that process. So I go ahead and click next to the next step. Again, this is where we were chatting earlier. I was mentioning the Qualys partnership for launching that SSL server test. So after we've done that installation, you know, clients can launch that SSL server test. Again, the tool is going to be checking to make sure that you have your cert chain installed correctly. We're going to be checking to see the protocols and ciphers that your server is supporting. You want to make sure that you're implementing the, you know, your certificate according to best practices. So once you've taken advantage of that, we have one last step, and that's the Entrust Site Seal. Again, an option for customers to select their site seal they want to put on their homepage, and you know, let their internal or, you know, their external customers know that you know, their websites are HTTPS and you know, secured by a reputable vendor in the industry. So again, that was a very high-level approach for an administrator deploying a certificate. I want to just take a quick step back. I did mention a secondary option for deployment. For organizations who want to offload that work through a requester-based system, we do offer what's called an eForm. So if I go back into the main portal and under my administration feature, I go down to our eForm settings. I'll select that, and it's going to load up a secure URL hyperlink here in a moment. So you can see at the top, you can eForm enable your account. So here's the certificate request URL. You have the ability to password protect this. You can set parameters such as certificate lifetime. Again, if you don't want to have requesters, you know, requesting different lifetimes, you want to keep consistent and set a parameter of maybe 1 year or 2 years, whatever that may be. You can do that. Most customers are posting these, you know, internally within their intranet, maybe via SharePoint, or they're just sending it out via email to their requesters. What happens is once they get that hyperlink, I'll go to my tab at the top here. They're going to click on that link, and it will open up an eForm request. The ability to request a new cert, renew an existing one, or reissue an existing certificate. So they'll have a vast options from the select down menu. these drop-downs will populate based off of the inventory that you have available in your account. So if I want to go ahead and request a new Advantage certificate as a requester, I can submit that request. And then it'll open up a very similar field to what I did or the administrator would be doing in terms of going through that creation process. So again, the requester is going to go ahead and fill out these fields. They're going to go through the steps that I did, additional information. They're going to be putting in their SAN names as well as the site lock feature, and then submitting that request. Once it's been submitted, the super administrators from the Entrust account will then get an email notification letting them know somebody's requested a certificate. An admin will then log into the account, and under the Manage Certificates tab, there's going to be a pre-populated tab here called Pending Approvals. So this is where the admin is going to come in to be able to review and approve those requests that have come in through the e-form. So you can see here there's a multitude of requests that have come in from different colleagues at Entrust. So for example, Nick's request here for a UC multi-domain, I can highlight it and then I can action and approve that request. Once I approve it, it will email that certificate back to the end user. It can be sent as a text in the email, as an attachment, or as a hyperlink for them to pick up that certificate. So again, those are just two options in terms of deploying the certificates. We have other automated tools in terms of API integration with other feature sets such as Venafi, but specifically speaking to this portal today, again, the IT enrollment feature as well as the user-based enrollment through the e-form. So from a certificate management standpoint, Entrust, we have a very flexible licensing policy for our customers that I'd like to highlight for everyone on the call. When I was talking earlier about the subscription-based model in terms of having a total cost of ownership, again, we understand that organizations are changing on a daily basis. There's going to be certificate needs that change, or at one time were required and might no longer be needed, earlier than expected. We always want to protect our customers' investments and make sure that they get the best use out of their certificates. So I just want to highlight what we have is called a certificate recycling feature. So as an administrator, if I log in, I'm going to take a quick look at the total inventory on this account. So if I highlight here at the top, we were speaking earlier about Advantage SSL certificates. You notice there's 159 in total inventory, there's 75 in use, and there's 84 remaining in the inventory. If we take a step back and go to Manage Certificates, and we get a listing of the current certificates that are in production, maybe one of these certificates, the project ended. We have customers who like to run QA, QA environments, non-prod certificates. We don't want them to lose the value of those licenses if they're only for short cycles. So in this case, if I'm an administrator, I can go ahead and highlight an Advantage certificate. Maybe I'm no longer using this one. I can action it, and I can go ahead and revoke that certificate. When I put in the request to revoke it, this license should go back into my inventory, and I'll be able to repurpose it for something else, a different common name, a different project down the road. So I'm just going to come in and put a reason here. I'm going to say cessation of operation. We'll go ahead and say the certificate is just no longer needed. I'm going to confirm its revocation. It lets me know that I've successfully revoked that certificate. So if I close this tab and I go back to my total inventory, again, we now have 85 remaining in inventory. So previously we had 84. We've now retrieved that license back. We can go ahead and create a new Advantage certificate. So again, maybe it's another short life certificate. It's another non-prod environment, but a very flexible licensing feature. So again, throughout our subscription, you have total cost of ownership. You have the ability to do this as many times as you wish. From a reporting standpoint, I just want to highlight under our report center for those on the team who might have to show purchase history and things of that nature, active certificates to procurement or higher authorities. We have a very comprehensive report center. On the left-hand side, we have just over 50 pre-populated reports that have been created by Entrust that cater to our customers. You also have the ability to customize some of these reports. But for instance, if I want to select active certificates, I'm producing a live time report right now of what's going on active within my portal. So I can dive down on that information, and as well, I can export that. So if you notice up here in the top left-hand side, there's a little gear. If I select that gear, I have the ability to switch it to a chart. I can export this report to a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet. So again, if I want to pass that around internally within the organization, I can generate new custom reports or copy them. And then a great feature here at the bottom is the ability to edit the report properties or schedule. So I want to highlight this feature for a lot of customers. The bigger organizations who want to, have comprehensive reporting, but, maybe just cater to a specific business unit, et cetera. You can run a personal schedule. So as an admin, I can create my own personal report and have a schedule running for it. I can also do a global schedule where I include maybe, again, a distribution list or, maybe a CIO or a VP or, somebody that's a higher authority within the organization, who wants to see specific PKI reports on a monthly or quarterly basis. I know in essence of time, we only have a few minutes left here, so just a couple more features that I want to highlight. Under the administration tab, if I go to user management, our clients have the ability to break down their user permissions within the ECS portal as well. So again, I'm functioning today as a super administrator, so I have all rights, all privileges, within the portal. You can also delegate sub-administrators where you assign them to a specific group. So again, maybe you have a sub-admin that you want to assign to a specific business unit, a user that is only entitled to a specific amount of SSL inventory, or maybe you only want them deploying certificates to a specific set of domains within your organization. So we can get very granular here with that capability, going from super to sub, and then as well as requester users. And a requester being very inherent in the name, they only have the ability to make requests, and those requests have to be reviewed by one of the administrators before they can be approved. From a domain management perspective, again, customers with very self-serve, an automated enrollment feature for domain verification. Upon setting up your account, if you have new domains that you want to add, you can bulk upload up to 87 through the ECS portal. So for instance, if I go ahead and put in a domain abc.com, I want to select my client. So again, whatever specific organization, and then my verification method. So the option of, email, web server, or DNS text entry. So you can go ahead and select your verification method and then submit the request at the bottom. That request will automatically hit our verification queue at Entrust, and our Vera system automates that process. So it's a very quick SLA. So, in terms of having urgent domains that need to go through that process, we're talking about same day or hourly results to get your domains vetted and, deployed within your account right away. And then lastly, I just want to highlight under the advanced settings feature, a notifications tab that can be very important for organizations in terms of expiry notifications. When you go to the advanced settings feature and you're setting up your account, administrators have the option to set up their expiry notifications tab. So you can see for the specific certs you've deployed with Entrust, the way I've set mine up is you have an information as well as a warning and an alert tab. I've set a 50-day warning as well as a 10-day alert. Obviously, if I wanted to, adjust and create an information, I can. By default, a lot of customers like to set the 90-60-30 or, a 60-30-10. So in terms of having those email notifications go out for expiries, we don't preset that for the customer. We'll have a default setting in here. But again, if you want to adjust that based off of whatever your internal needs are within the organization, we can help you do that. And then another important feature at the bottom here is the email notifications for the expiries. You can have multitude of multiple emails as well as a distribution list you can put in here. So if you want to have multiple parties or a team get notified of certificate expiries so they can action them, you can add those emails in here as well. And then again, from a certificate perspective, I just want to highlight the help tab. We do have online help, how-to. We do videos. We have a CSR viewer, full support services, as well as our bulletproof SSL book and our software downloads. So again, very comprehensive system in terms of the support tools that we can offer our customers here at Entrust. If you ever get stuck or you have any sort of questions, you have a dedicated account manager and lots of features that we can support you in terms of getting your certs deployed. So I'm going to take a step back. It looks like we're just coming up along 11:25 here. I know we went through this, at a very high level. There's a lot of other great features that we can run through here. If you're interested in doing a deeper dive or you have some more questions, we can look into that. But I'm going to take a step back and just highlight some of our support services and pass it back over to Lauren to open it up for any questions in the last 5 minutes we have here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Lucas, for the in-depth demonstration. Most of the questions we were able to answer during the demo itself. We did anticipate that we'd receive a lot of questions about support, so we've prepared a slide that highlights the expert support that we provide to our customers. But in the meantime, there were a few other questions that I wanted to say for the end of the call. So Lucas, if you could help us answer these. The first one, we had someone ask about where we stand. So where does Entrust stand with the latest baseline requirements for verification?
So from a verification standpoint, Entrust has actually implemented the newest CA browser form requirements for the verification protocol. So again, the user-based engagement for verification through DNS text entry. We can actually verify multiple domains using a single text entry, but we have deprecated the method 1 and updated all of our current as well as our new customers. So from a baseline requirements and compliance standpoint, we are on board with the newest regulations that have been handed down by the CAB form.
Okay, perfect. Another question we got was around licensing policies. So what are our licensing policies around certificate reissues and server licenses?
So that's a great question. With our subscription service, we do offer unlimited reissues for our SSL certificates throughout your subscription. So again, that's unlimited. From a server licensing policy as well, Entrust we offer an unlimited server licensing policy. So for those of customers who want to deploy certificates and copy them to multiple devices or platforms, we do not charge extra for that feature. Again, that's an unlimited server licensing policy. So you're free to do what you wish with your certificates. If you want to copy them as many times as you wish, that's not a problem. We're very flexible from that standpoint, and there's no extra charge for that.
Okay, perfect. And then another obvious common question that we've gotten, and I think you kind of touched on this during the demo, is what is the pricing for the various certificate types that we covered today? I know you kind of talked about that flex plan, but can you give a brief overview of it one more time?
Yeah. So from a cost perspective, again, we have a subscription-based model that we can offer our customers where they choose a specific count term, and then they can choose based off of the inventory that they wish to acquire. So again, whether the needs are for standard, wildcards, private certificates, multi-domain certs, we offer volume as well as term discounting. So, depending off the volume that the customers are purchasing, and as well as the term they choose, the concessionary discounting gets more aggressive, and we can get you a better price per license. And again, Lauren, you just highlighted, we also do have a package called Entrust Flex, where for some of our higher volume certificate customers, if they wish, they can purchase a Flex pack, which is a fixed rate cost, and it entitles them to any certificate within our SSL portfolio. So rather than worry about the logistics of your certificate requirements in the moment, you can just purchase a Flex license pack, and you can swap those licenses around as your needs come throughout your subscription.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. It looks like we are just about at time. I am seeing a couple extra questions flowing through the Q&A. So if we did not get a chance to touch on them directly today, we will have someone reach out to you directly with answers for those. We'll also send a recording of today's demo via email in case you'd like to review. And then the only other thing I ask is that you guys please take a moment to complete the post-event survey. And thank you for joining us. And thank you, Lucas, for doing the presentation.
And thanks, everyone, and thank you, Lauren.
Okay, thanks. Goodbye.